This video is for any of my YouTube viewers. I'm going to mainly touch upon a few comments made by Feli. Her YouTube channel is Feli from Germany. I'm going to explain what her channel is about because probably most of my viewers have never watched her channel. Now, there's a handful of other YouTube content creators. I'm also going to respond to some of their comments. Now, let me start to Lauren. Don't remember the name of her channel. There's Sabina Hassenfelder. There's Marlena's Lieben. Um, Armis Merlin and Lieben USA. I'm going to comment on all those if I can remember. Now, I do have composed a list just for Feli. Now, Feli was born in Munich. She lived in Cincinnati, Ohio for 9 years. I've watched her channel for, quite a number of years. But anyway, she lived in Cincinnati, kind of got customized to, the way we do things here in the U.S. And she's moved back to, back to Munich, Germany with her American husband, and she's kind of comparing things. Now, I'm going to, respond to a few things that she's commented, not in a bad way, just say, well, there's differences in, between the U.S. and other parts of the world. I mean, yeah, that's just a kind of give, and you kind of go with what happens in your particular area that you move to. That's just, yeah, I think just a different parts of the world. But anyway, let me start off with hard water. Now, she did comment. She said, well, some parts of Arizona do have hard water. That really depends upon what part of, if you're living in a major city, where they treat the water, like, like here in Avondale, there's quite a number of groundwater wells. They do treat the water, so it's really not quite as hard if you have your own particular, private well. That is common on more rural areas where you might have your own well, and you really can't treat the water, and it is pretty hard. That now there's some wells in more remote areas that go down pretty deep, maybe several thousand feet, because I've known several wells. People have wells that they just have they're just very rich metals. They're not really pollutants. They're just stuff in the water, like arsenic is. The town of Ajo, Arizona. Ajo is a Spanish word for garlic, and people would drink the water, and there's very, very slight content of arsenic in there, and it would make people's skin smell like garlic. So that's how the town of Ajo got its name, if anybody wants to know. Now, arsenic level in the water is not high enough to be a serious problem, I guess, in most wells. But maybe today they've treated it, and that's not as big a problem as it once was. I'm kind of thinking that's the case. But for Felix, yeah, it really depends upon what part of Arizona you're in. If you're on a city well where they've, treated the water. Now, chlorine, that's not a big thing around here. I know one, two wells that have treated, but I think most people didn't care for that, and I think they've kind of stopped doing that anymore because I don't know any water around here that smells like chlorine. Now, for me personally, to drink, I'll take a shower in the water, wash clothes in, in the tap water. But to drink it, I get the bottled water and stuff. You take your own jug to these particular machines. It's currently like about 35 cents a gallon. I'll fill these 5-gallon jugs. That's how I get my drinking water. Let's see, on trash cans. Now, for me personally here, I live in a mobile home park. Now we get these big, massive dumpsters. You just pile everything in there. We don't really have that recycling here where they have the smaller containers. But they are, they are around in this part of the world. There are some cities around here that have that program. I think that's really a good idea, where you separate out the various types of waste, the stuff that can be recycled. That really is a good idea. There's a lot of stuff that does end up in landfills that, they could be properly. There's a lot of people that will throw away stuff, like various metals. I've lived my whole life, recycling metals and stuff. You can make a little bit of money if you know what you're doing. I don't do that full time, but I know people that that recycle various types of metals. And make a little money on it. Like I said, there's a lot of people that just throw away all their trash, and some of it can be recycled. Like especially like e-waste. I used to find old computers, not so much anymore, but used to find old computers, where maybe the motherboard was fried or the some part of it was bad, but you could still pull a hard drive out of there, and there was still something interesting on there. Now, I would never make use of any private information on a hard drive. That's not who I am, but I could sit there and go through it and find people bits and pieces of personal life. The same thing with cell phones. Bring them back up, and again, I wouldn't exploit anything on there, but do find some things interesting. Home photos and stuff that sometimes you find on discarded items. Um, let's see. I do have a list here. And she talk about bars. I'm not a bar person. I've been in bars. I got nothing against that type of thing. Now I've got a sugar problem where I know it takes a small amount of alcohol to get me to where I'm not safe to drive or anything like that. So I just make it a point not to drink in bars. Now I'm thinking the bars around here in the Avondale area, the most of the just a part of the city probably aren't those real super friendly bars that you do have in maybe the major big cities. Now the ones in Phoenix, yeah, I don't know about them either. I've never really been into any of those. Now there's probably a few in downtown Phoenix. It might be if you remember the TV show Cheers, where everybody knows your name. And there's probably a few bars around here like that. I don't know. Like I said, I can tell you one way or the other because it's not part of my personal experience. So I just have to leave it at that. Let's see on food. Yeah, I have no idea what how to compare the food from Munich to Phoenix or Avondale. On Indian food, now I'm going to cover Native American food here in a minute. Now, in India, you talk about the food from India, which is there. I'm sure those restaurants around here. I just never eaten in them, so I just not familiar with them. But Mexican food, yeah, if you want a good variety of Mexican food, you definitely got to hit up the Southwest U.S. And there's not one type of cuisine. There's different, like Tex-Mex and there's different what they might eat like on the west coast of like the Baja coast or what they might eat in L.A. They're gonna vary. They're gonna be different because they're just different cultures, different types of cuisine. You can certainly go around and find different styles of Mexican food or other. I do see restaurants of like Middle Eastern stuff throughout the valley. But I don't I don't eat in there, so I couldn't tell you anything about them. Let's see. Oh, I've covered most of the stuff here. Let me get to Lauren. Uh, that's her name. I don't remember the exact title of her YouTube channel. It's like Lauren in Germany or something like that. She's an American living. I think she's watching my videos. Not all of them. I think she's watched some of them. Now, there's one video she had posted. Now, she's an American. She does speak English, but I'd say she makes about 95% of her videos in German, just because that's what she wants her channel to be about. But there was one. The title on her this particular YouTube video was Nie Wieder USA. But she's got a sister living in Florida, and got a week or so after she posted her Nie Wieder USA. She's visiting her sister in Florida. So I said, why would you post a Nie Wieder USA video if you're going to go back and visit your sister in Florida? It didn't make any sense, but I'm not inside her mind. I don't know. Another guy I don't get is the guy that has this guy lives in San Diego. His videos are in German, but he does speak good English because he's made videos with a couple of his friends, and he's I'm not fluent in German, but I can understand enough of it to watch his videos, and he's kind of putting us Americans down. He's saying that we're fat, lazy, stupid. I've commented on his videos that he's putting us Americans down. In English, I've commented on there. I said, dude, why are you living in San Diego if you don't care for America and Americans? I don't get it. But hey, if you're an American, if you're fluent in Hochdeutsch or any of the other dialects of German, if you're fluent in German, and go to Lieben USA and say, hey, I'm an American, and you're wrong about us Americans. Just to do that. And another guy, real good guy, and this guy's got plenty of American friends. He's toured. He's done quite a number of videos in German, explaining if they come here as a tourist, what they, particular, trips they can take if they're pulled over by law enforcement. You definitely, kind of how to behave in the U.S. That's kind of what his videos are about. The place you can go. It's the Armist Merlin. I need to get an exact spelling on that so I can give reference to his channel. Now, the other chick is Marlene's Lieben. I'd say about 80% of her videos are from a particular mountainous area, from southern Germany. If you type Marlene's Lieben, this her videos will come up. Now, I've commented on her videos sometime. She needs to make because she does speak good English. She come here to the U.S. I'm gonna get that in a second. she spoke in English to people that she on some of her videos, and I said, Frau, um, make in English comment on her videos. Said make start a separate channel. Keep your Marlene's Leben channel in German, but do Marlene's Life, and completely in English. I mean, completely separate. Maybe not all your videos, just 2 or 3. See how well they do. And well, if you watch her videos here off of YouTube, they're audio dubbed in English. So I guess that's good enough for most people. I like to download them and watch them on big TV, especially with Marlene, because she's got some very spectacular videos. Where she's skiing or mountain hiking in the summertime. Definitely, definitely worth watching. Let's see if I covered everything. Oh, I was going to cover Sabina Hassenfelder. Now, I've got these weird, perverted fantasies. Now, Sabina's her thing is science, not cosmology, because that's not really her field, but she does science. I can't think of the term for it. There's a her branch of science. I can't think of it now, but anyway, I've got these fantasies where she's on top of me, which I really shouldn't, because she's got a family. But anyway, I have these fantasies where she's on top of me. She experiences her double Big Bang, and then she rolls off and starts crying, "Science is dying! Science is dying!" Yeah, that's a weird fantasy, isn't it? Well, another thing, I think Sabina's watching my videos. I don't know why, but my videos, I've got a deep fascination with a number of science, number of the disciplines of science, but I don't really delve into them here on my YouTube channel because that's just not what I want to make this channel about. But anyway, this is saying that Americans don't understand the metric system. Now, I've done many of my videos when I'm talking about degrees in Fahrenheit. I'll also, include the equivalent reading in Celsius. Now, I've got a, toolbox full of both inch-size tools and metric-size tools. So if you tell a guy who's got, I don't know how you can tell a guy that's got, a 17 millimeter inch in his hand that he doesn't understand the metric system. I don't get that. And Sabina, for Marlene, for Feli, ich liebe dich, Fraus. Auf Wiedersehen.